step into the haunted halls of Spooky School. Each week, we take the fearless Jimmy on a journey through uncharted horror territory as we introduce him to spine-tingling movies he's never seen before. Beware, dear listeners, for the chilling tales we unravel may leave you sleeping with the lights on. Here are your hosts, Professor Spooky and Jimmy.
Hello.
Hey.
And hello to you. Thank you so much again for watching. So good to see you. Have you, but you know what? Guest star today is you. It's your job to talk for 2 hours.
We really haven't asked them how they are the entire time. They've just been listening to us rant about everything. So, like,
Yeah,
how
no,
are
it's
you?
your episode today.
Yeah.
It's your platform. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I'm already over it.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
already lame. Good to hear from you. Good to see you. How have you been? I have been waiting and waiting and waiting to show you this movie.
Yeah.
This is, out of everything, the most anticipated one, I think, in terms of not only using this as a excuse to rewatch all of my old favorites,
Yeah.
but to show you them and then finally get to talk to somebody about these.
Okay. There's so much to get into here, and I think I can just flat out say this might be like my favorite movie you'll ever show me. Just 'cause like, don't get me wrong. We recently saw Old Boy. That was one of the best movies
That
I've
was
ever
pretty
seen.
good.
It's just it's incredible. But knowing who I am and knowing what I like, and it's not, like I'm loving every horror movie we watch except for like a handful. But you know that I'm goofier and like whatever, and just like it doesn't have to be like scary. It doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have. This was everything I wanted out of a movie of just like what the hell. I didn't realize that acid was so big in Japan.
I
'Cause
guess so.
There's no other explanation than drugs.
No, actually, I looked this up.
Oh, yeah?
The explanation is childlike wonder.
Oh.
We are talking about the 1977 classic House.
Yes.
Now, usually we have a somewhat organized, coherent discussion about the movie whenever we go into it, right?
Yeah.
And in the spirit of House, I think we should just throw that out the window.
Get it out.
And have the most chaotic ADHD conversation about this movie possible.
It's really what the movie deserves. I
It
mean,
is.
The entire time. I don't know if anyone has ever seen like the Beatles' Help or has ever seen like the Yellow Submarine cartoons or felt
or just did
uncomfortable.
acid and stared at a wall for a little bit and listened to a painting talk to them.
Yeah. Or like this.
To rewind before you get to your point, because I want to answer your question.
Okay.
It was not acid.
Huh?
There was an actual inspiration behind the visual look and everything behind this movie. However, before we get into it, I want you to guess, and again, I would give you 1,000,000 years, and you never would be able to. What do you think was the direct inspiration for this movie? I will give you a hint. It was a gigantic horror film in the 1970s. It was not Halloween. And when I say gigantic, I mean mainstream appeal,
Really?
not underground shit that I like that I show you.
A mainstream horror. Excuse me. A mainstream horror movie from the 70s was actually the inspiration behind
Inspiration behind this one, yes.
this? I mean, just out of like goofy movies that we've seen, is it Pieces?
No, because Pieces is in the 80s and this is the 70s.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah. No, I've really.
It's not a movie we've talked about on here.
I mean, it definitely resembled some of the like wild, like kind of mid-section Godzilla movies that just turned into like wild, like childlike, whimsical tales with the giant lizard in it. Any of that? No.
No,
I guess it wasn't.
it's an
super
American
mainstream.
film.
Okay. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then I legit am at a loss.
You will never guess, and I couldn't believe it either, but the number one source of inspiration for this movie was Jaws.
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 In what? What?
Jaws is about a shark that eats people, and House is about a house that eats people. So,
I guess you're
direct
right.
correction right there, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, sure.
But the inspiration behind the visual style and all of it making no fucking sense whatsoever
No.
is the director of this movie was inspired by Jaws. I forget if he was like assigned to it to like make it or whatever, right? Wrote the screenplay for this one, and it took 2 years for it to get produced because every director that saw the script went, there's no way I'm going to do this. This would ruin my career.
Dude.
So he had to fight for himself to become the director of this movie, right?
Yeah.
Finally, Toho gave him the go about to do it, right? And when the director was writing it, he kept going to his daughter, who was very young at the time, and went, "What should this movie be about?" And the direct quote, which was so good, was it was either him or his daughter talking about how adults are boring, and if they try to come up with some sort of story, they're going to come up with it's going to make sense.
Yeah.
But if you give it to a kid, it's not going to make any sense at all. It's not going to be comprehensible.
Oh, dude. That makes so much sense. I'm the oldest of like 563 grandchildren, and so I've always had to like play. Actually, it's quite nice because a couple of them are over 21 now, so it's weird to see like, oh, you were a baby and now we're having beers together, you know?
Right.
But yeah, just thinking like back in the day, that was always some of my fondest memories of like. Yeah, do you want to play? And then you got this one kid with like a sword, a couple firecrackers, and a shield, and they have a whole story between everything going on. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm following, dude. Let's go.
This is better than Lord of the Rings. Write this shit down.
Right. That's exactly what this feels like. Right. But that having it be from a child's mind makes the whole thing make way more sense. Because honestly, our main characters of the like 8 or 9. Oh, by the way, I should have said this at the very, very beginning, but. Just if you haven't seen House, first of all, it's on Max. Take my subscription or another friend's subscription. Go to Max and watch House, or do what Joe does and magically find it. And
hey, I streamed this movie legally. Don't.
Oh yeah.
The first time I watched it, I did not follow the law.
No.
Actually, I do want to just take a second here to kind of go back and say how piracy actually really is harmful for the industry, and that you shouldn't do it. And that you should not go and download some sort of torrenting software of your choice, such as, first of all, it'd be really harmful if you downloaded a VPN to make sure you didn't get caught, so to mask all of your internet browsing stuff. It would be really harmful if you downloaded software like QBitTorrent, so like lowercase q and then capital B and then IAT torrent. And then you downloaded that, and it's literally free to download. So don't do that, number one. Or Views, V-U-Z-E, or Deluge, which also has really good reviews. Avoid uTorrent, because that one is just, it'll put mining software on your computer. You don't want that. And then you go to, like, some sort of these, like, popular websites, like Pirate Bay, or what
Crazy,
else?
it's still up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad that there's still these things out there, and, like, nobody can figure out how to actually get rid of them.
No.
Like,
I mean, like, the complete sovereignty that they have over there, like, off the coast of Somalia, where they just have all these videos farmed out for whoever wants to see them, is, like, a crazy...
Crazy.
But, so don't do this, because it's bad for the industry, and definitely why so many movies are not making money. But music's free, so let's level the playing field.
Go to bandcamp.com and buy your favorite album off your artist, you know?
Yeah,
But don't go to 1337 lowercase x and torrent a movie or something like that with your torrent software that you just downloaded. That'd be awful. I would really hate it if anybody did that. It'd be really bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, we're nothing but responsible as people, and we expect that in our listeners, too.
You could be a cuckold like me and pay $40 whole to have the movie on a disc.
Dude, honestly, $40 for this movie. I'm surprised you found a copy.
Yeah,
that's the entire time I was like, I'm surprised the amount of times I had to Google it and then put 1977 because you just kept on getting the TV show.
Yep.
Yeah, and then and then having it be on HBO Max was pretty crazy. And there is no English dub. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
This is all you got to read the whole time, and it is worth it. But it is this. I will say, now, I know you said you just have to read. You just got to do it. You just got to, like, quit being lazy, which I do absolutely agree with your sentiment. I am being lazy when I don't want to read certain subtitles. But in a movie like this, where for every sentence I have to deal with 15 cuts...
like heads floating on the screen, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to catch up. This might be a 2-timer movie, and this is for sure going to be a movie that I'm going to show all of my friends now.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Like, it's one of those films where it's like if I'm in a bad mood, I put it on, and then it just makes me feel better.
Yeah, because these guys killed it, and they made an amazing movie that doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't know if it's a commercial, music video, or PSA for the entire time.
It makes extreme sense if you just kind of strip it away into its bare bones plot points.
Yeah.
then yeah, it makes great sense. You have our main character, gorgeous,
Yes.
because that's exactly who she is. She's gorgeous. I love that the characters don't have real names.
No, they're just like
They all just have nicknames.
Melody is the person that plays. Kung Fu is the
Kung
person that
Fu,
knows Kung
yeah.
Fu. She's my favorite, dude.
She was so cool. But you have gorgeous, and she's jealous because her father is going to remarry, and the father is a famous movie composer.
Which, if you're a
Super
teenager,
rich.
you have to hate your parents.
You
and
have
so,
to.
Obviously, she's not stoked about this.
So she decides to take her friends to go to her aunt's mansion, and then the mansion decides to start killing all of them.
Because why not?
How does that not make any sense?
No,
How
no,
are
no.
you not able to pull that out from the first time watching this?
But not even not kill him. It's like the house and her are one sentient being that
Yeah.
work together. And we don't even see how. So, bouncing around as we said we were going to.
There is no coherency
No,
in this
no, no.
conversation at all.
I gotta. So, I love that there is a girl. I forget what they call her, but all of them are hinting that she's like the fat girl,
Mac.
right? Mac, right. And so Mac dies first. It's an off-screen death. We don't actually see how she dies, but what I love is she's known as Mac, and every single scene she's munching, and every single scene people call her out for munching, and she's maybe 3 pounds more overweight
There
than
is
everyone else.
no
There's
universe where that actress is overweight at all. Yeah.
No, for sure. She is an American malnourished person.
Yeah.
But
She's only 300 pounds. Oh my God.
yeah,
Get
exactly.
this woman some food.
But so Mac has an off-screen death, and like because she's obsessed with food, she finds this fruit stand person and buys like the biggest, and to her credit, one of the most delicious-looking watermelons I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, and because this is an old school old mansion, they don't have a fridge, and so they cool things. I guess I don't know. I'm not old enough to know if this was a thing or not. But they just tied things on a string and stuck it down a well because the water down there is colder, and that's how you keep it fresh and crispy. Which the math checks out, but
Watermelon. What's in a well?
listen, I guess you're right, but as
That's
a creature,
probably how watermelons first came about. They took the melons, put it in a well. It got full of water. Now they have watermelons.
Oh, I thought the ones in California were silicone melons, though. But we have no idea how she died, other than we pull up the watermelon thinking that we're going to get a nice, delicious treat, and it's actually her head. And then her head starts doing flips and then starts biting. It just is this wild scene of Technicolor movement and going around where you actually do get to see a little string attached to the head in one of the scenes. It's only for like a split second. But seeing that, I just love when movies use, and it is a legitimately cool practical effect.
It is amazing, the practical effects that they pull off. They look a little dated because just the technology available at the time.
Yeah.
And so if there's any sort of... One thing that actually did really impress me was the use of matte paintings in this one.
Oh, doing the landscape and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those looked amazing, right? But
Yeah.
when they had to like superimpose stuff into a shot, you can see like a clearly thick border. And obviously it's not the best, but...
It really did throw me back to like the golden age of cinema of the 30s to 50s, where everyone was doing like big studios and everything, and I that was huge points for me for the movie.
But like at the same time, it is 1977.
So you don't have to do that.
And it's a Japanese film. I'm assuming here the budget was not that big.
I couldn't find the budget. I was trying to find it.
This is probably no budget.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a list of the names of characters here because thankfully I don't have to worry and struggle about how to actually pronounce anybody's name because they didn't have real names. There's Gorgeous, Fantasy, Mac.
Yeah. Kung Fu. Again,
Kung Fu, best
to
character.
me is the star of the movie. That
She's incredible.
And every single time she shows off her kung fu skills is a sweet little Power Ranger cutscene where she goes and like smashes whatever needs to be there and can magically backflip like 9 times. Mm-hmm. It's sick.
Going back to the very beginning of the film, you get like a sense of just how over the top this is going to be instantly.
Yeah.
The editing is just so all over the place, which I love. But I bring it up because before they go to the house, you get a sense of how close these friends really are. And to me, it really bringing it back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where a lot of those scenes in Texas felt improvised, right?
Yeah.
And then the movie here, A House, the scenes at the beginning, they feel improvised.
Definitely.
Like the characters have been friends for like a long, long time.
Yeah.
And they're just chit-chatting and they're all, either kind of being mean to each other a little bit, like teasing each other because all girls hate each other on the inside.
Yeah, especially that fat one.
God. So mean. Why?
Yeah.
But you get what I mean, where it's like they didn't just feel like characters reading lines off of a piece of paper. They felt like real friends.
I mean, legitimately, they all passed as good actors because of that camaraderie that they had. Like, there's a scene where they're all sitting on the bench outside of the school talking about what they're doing for the summer. And the way, like, it's just insane back and forths of going from girl to girl who's talking in a way that, like, you can't even recreate the cuts in standard Premiere because they're just like, why would you use that transitional motion? And you're just like, because do it. And so as it's one scene where it's what, 7 girls on a bench, and they're just going talk,
machine gun firing through all these lines, and it's just cut.
It feels so authentic to when, like, I don't know, I was in middle school or high school, and you walk past a group of cats, and you're just like, what are they talking about? Like, like, but no, yeah, they absolutely nailed it. And I couldn't find a lot of information on them as actors overall, but I did read that they didn't have any parts before the movie. They were all just
they were all amateurs.
That's so cool because they all absolutely murdered their role. And I mean, unfortunately, because of their amateur status, they probably got paid like 100 yen per.
You think they got paid?
No, especially because, like, I mean.
They were told that there was going to be craft services, and then they showed up and no food there, like, at all.
No. The craft service was the fat lady's head instead of a watermelon.
Yep.
And then that's it.
I feel bad. You just reminded me of something. So a long time ago, I met an actress. I helped her get a role on this awful, like, amateur horror film, right? And she knew that she wasn't getting paid, but she's like, it's a free meal and it should be fun, right? The whole shoot was miserable, and she's telling me, like, the whole time I'm just thinking about getting that craft services and everything. But they took so long to shoot, by the time they had got back to where they had stored, like, all the food for the day, rats had just taken over and destroyed and ate all of it.
Oh, no.
Shouts out to friend. Miss you. Love you.
Yeah, that's rough. That is a prime example of, like, I want to be an actor, and I think I'm doing the right thing, and then,
You gotta pay your dues.
Yeah.
You don't just walk into Hollywood and get an amazing role right away. You have to go through the shit. You have to crawl out of a porta potty poop pile.
Dude, I like, coming from playing music for so long, I have played so many bad shows where a good amount of them are my fault, obviously, but a good amount of them are also not my fault. And it is always a huge letdown when you're driving back, usually like an hour and a half or something, when you're like, wow, I really just played Where for, like, nothing. All right.
I don't even have enough money to put the gas back into my car, and we're going to run out.
No, exactly. Looking at my wife like, no, this really is going to work out. Don't worry. Like, but, if I say that there is a feeling that connects to Ringu, not Ringo, different one. If there's a feeling that to me felt directly like a scene from The Ring, would you know which one I'm talking about?
Probably the mirror, right?
Dude, wait, no, actually.
No? Which one?
No.
Is it the bath when the hair comes out and, like, wraps around her?
Another close one, but specifically is the flashback that they all do.
Oh, yeah, you're totally on point on that one.
It was one of the coolest flashback scenes ever since Ringu, because Ringu really, really nailed theirs, and it felt really similar. And even though this is just, like, so ADHD back and forth, like, not only in, like, the view, but just, like, there's 7 girls talking over each other, kind of talking about the story that they're going by. But in the flashback scene, having it all be narrated by them, and then have this quick cut, like, and then
the way that it's set up too, they're talking like they're watching the footage with us.
Right.
Yeah,
it's this movie is so well done for being nuts. Like, and having no, like, it has a through line, but it just, like, also doesn't, like, but. You know what's cool about having this whole movie focus? Because in the beginning of the movie, it felt like we were just going to follow, like, one girl to her aunt's house. Mm-hmm. And the fact that all the girls, like, stayed and actually came together, it was a well-rounded adventure party.
It was, yeah.
It really, you had so many people that fit the mesh of whatever you needed them to do. So, I like that part of it.
I wonder if this counts as, like, the proto-slasher then. because like slashers are kind of notorious for having like their stereotypical like stoner character, asshole you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so having all those characters fit a certain role and be like really good contrasts of each other.
That's a good point. You
Probably
know, I
not,
think
though.
that is. Well, when was D&D created?
Actually, yeah, you know what? Gary, whatever the fuck his name, who created D&D? Gary Ridgway, right?
I couldn't tell you honestly.
You know who Gary Ridgway is, don't you?
No, I don't. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna look up how when D&D was created, and you look up who Gary Ridgway is.
Oh.
All right, 1974, and this movie came out in 77. So yeah, D&D. This movie ripped off D&D pretty hard.
Yeah, obviously. There was no Dragonborns though, which is the biggest letdown.
Who created D&D? That was Gary Gygax. That was close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's another Gary.
close.
Yeah. Probably have a kind of a different
Garyhood is a spectrum.
Gary.
You either make the greatest tabletop game of all time or kill like 44 people.
I mean, yeah, why not?
Why not?
So- Oh man. But yeah. I mean, you go on the train, you have the flashback scene, and then you're teleported into these like whimsical woods with these really beautiful background paintings of these huge high top mountains and everything. Like the landscapes in this movie was freaking awesome.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. And then we got to go buy the watermelon from the crazy watermelon man, who was a sick character, and also like definitely like kind of in on it. But the haunted house, of course, is a lone house on top of a giant hill, because why wouldn't it be?
Why not?
Yeah. And so all the girls find it, and the doors kind of like magically open, and then just like the cat appears on this lady's lap, and she's just wheeling around like, hey, girls.
That
like,
cat is the star of the show.
Really is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple moments where it like darted across screen in such a way that they either sat there for hours trying to get this one shot, or somehow trained that cat so good to be like, keep it over there.
There is
Quick bust
one
it out.
shot where Auntie is being wheeled through, and the cat is like supposed to jump onto her lap as she wheels.
Oh, yeah?
And it is so obvious. There's just a dude off screen with that cat and just chucks it on her lap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
just yeah. Oh, kind of like, I mean, so again, ADHD back and forth.
We don't have to acknowledge
You know,
it. Just embrace it.
All
Go.
right. In the beginning of the movie where the guy like falls and then has his ass stuck in a pan.
Yeah, I
and
forgot
then like
about that.
almost got hit by a car, but then is like rolling around, but it's in this like stop motion like move like it's that energy throughout the whole thing. And, like,
It's just never brought up again. And
No.
it's like, it's so weird and such a. And there's no time for it to breathe. That it's like, again, I completely forgot that even happens in the beginning, because it's just one of many scenes that just hits you over the head.
I only remember that because it was just one of the many stop motion scenes too, where clearly, I mean, like it was that same cat was playing the piano, but it was really just one shot in forward and reverse of a cat walking across the piano, but like to the beat, which was sweet.
Which was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Which also to the beat. Let's talk about how cool the soundtrack was.
It's pretty intense, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was a full orchestrated, like almost Disney-esque, like definitely inappropriate at times, like kind of happier than usual soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
Very upbeat. I forget who, but it was like a band that did all the music for this. It wasn't just like a composer.
You're listening to the Spooky School Podcast. Be sure to leave the video a like, as it really helps out the channel. Subscribe for weekly podcasts delivered to your inbox every Friday. Now let's get back to the show.
So as you're already looking up the band that'll give this is the inspiration that I found, which if you guys are Instagram users, please check out this awesome Instagram page. It's called Soviet Freestyle. Loops from the Other Side, and it's a whole bunch of records from communist countries that didn't get the same kind of like outpouring play or whatever that the capitalist countries could promote their music and everything. But so it's a whole Instagram page of this guy that goes through all these old records, and the sounds from these old Soviet era records from all over, like from all Asia and Europe, communist countries that were kind of like had the big red hand on them, but you can't make people stop playing music.
Right.
And these guys, the influence of like American prog rock and crazy jazz, and then also their traditional music meeting up in a super low budget record quality because that's all they could get in the communist dollar. Like, it is just one of the coolest sample packs, and it's all for sale. But also, if you just like really cool music and have Instagram, give Soviet Freestyle a follow.
Okay.
It's rad.
I'll have to check that out then. That sounds pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
Reminds me of how like I read an article somewhere that like one of the materials that was used to bootleg records into Soviet era countries or just countries in general where music's banned is like X-rays.
Really?
Yeah, and so like you can go through and like find like X-ray, not like X-ray paper, but like actual X-rays where the record was pressed into those.
Whoa.
Which has got to be like the coolest way of like, not only do I have this illegal record, but it's like a dude's fractured skull is like the picture of the
That's so
of the
cool.
thing.
Yeah. Like,
so the music is done by a band called Godego, I think that's how it's pronounced, spelled G-O-D-I-E-G-O. Could be wrong.
all right. That's pretty cool. I bet you that these guys would have similar, maybe even one of their older albums on it. It looks like they're from Japan, which was never a communist country. Wasn't saying it was, but it is really cool. Yeah, 1975, 1985, and then picked up again in 1999. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So they did the music for that surprisingly upbeat soundtrack for what is supposed to be, I would really call this a straightforward horror, obviously. It's definitely more like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
But way more lighthearted in tone than the other movies we've been watching. So I feel like it's a great classic to show pretty much anybody.
It really was a palate cleanser of the whole thing. Because, like, yes, when you break down what goes on throughout the movie, it is a horror movie. But at the same time, it's not. Like, I think The Land Before Time when I was a child was more intense than this movie ever was, And there was some pretty intense parts in it. I mean, like, everyone gets killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoiler alert. There's a new way for everybody, and none of them were not terrifying. I mean, a couple straight up disappearances, but then we had the bath kill, which someone was just taking a bath and then the hair kind of comes up and you don't see exactly what happens, but it is just a super uncomfortable feeling, and then she's never seen again. And then Kung Fu's almost murdered like 20 times. She like fought sentient pieces of wood for some reason while she was trying to heat up the bath for the girl who died in there. And then someone gets
then she's like, oh, it's just an illusion.
Right. Because no one, it's a horror movie, so they can't believe what's going on, or else the movie would be shorter. But it is just the funniest thing where all this weird shit keeps on happening, and all the girls are just like, this is vacation, all right?
I'm here to have a good time. I don't want this to be a bummer.
Don't bring down that. I worked so hard this year on all of the grades, and now I'm just obsessed with this older teacher coming and checking in on us, which is also this weird through line of the whole thing of like how they want manly men, and people are so manly back in the war, and they're
He was
just
so
like,
handsome back then.
Right. Like, oh, such manly, so handsome. So what? It's the funniest thing because, I guess they're supposed to be schoolgirls, but like, I don't know how old the actors were either way. It's just, I need to learn more about Japanese culture and the schoolgirl cafes and tie this back to where culturally they might be into some things that.
I agree with you, but I want more like Catboy cafes than I want schoolgirl cafes.
Well, those are the ones I'm going to spend more time in when I do
visit.
end up
Yeah,
traveling.
I'm a man of
for
culture.
sure.
Of course, I'm going to be there for the Catboys.
Yeah. I'm I'll obviously hit both for science, but yeah.
Research purposes, yes.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
But total side note, did you see that guy in Japan that bought that incredibly realistic dog costume to live in now?
Fucking screamed the first time I saw that. Yeah.
I thought it was a legit fucking dog, dude. like, it is so hyper realistic, but I guess
there's like being a furry or whatever, and then there's that level of
which is like
dedication, mental illness. I don't really know what to call it. But.
Right. Where it's like when furries and the dudes in the pup play and all those guys try and say like it's not sexual. Like I'm not buying into that aspect of it. But this guy who's a legit full-fledged like corgi costume, I'm like, you can say it's not sexual, but you also cannot say you don't have a touch of the tisms.
There's something going on there.
Right. Whatever it is, show me where that tail goes. Show me.
Show me. Actually, don't show me.
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But sorry, yeah. Side note from just a couple of the weird things that, especially from 1977 to 2023, there is a few points in the movie where you just kind of have to realize.
Don't apologize, okay? The director of this movie wants you to just spout out every thought that it comes into your head at once.
I bet, which is really good that I'm drinking this caffeinated
We need to get as caffeinated as humanly
yeah,
possible.
Exactly.
Start points, don't even finish them.
Why
Go
would
on
we?
to other side tangents.
Yeah.
Talk about something else. The rest of this podcast should just be about a completely different movie.
Yeah.
In the spirit of House.
In the spirit of House. God, Shit Doctor, great show. Oh man. Okay. So the first hint of the ant being really evil, besides the fact that she was in a wheelchair holding a white cat, like that's giveaway number one.
The white cat, it's white, it's angelic. That's what white is supposed to represent, unless you're a bride, and that means virginal.
Then, so I am a black cat connoisseur. I'm not buying in. I'm not buying into the white cats. I'm into black cats. Help protect the spirits from entering the house. White cats are no.
White cats are actual ghosts.
Yeah.
And in this case, it literally is a ghost.
It literally is. Yeah. But one of the creepiest lines in the movie is right after Mac disappears. They're sitting and enjoying this watermelon. And the auntie like keeps on opening her mouth, and there's an eyeball that just kind of rolls around in there, and she's using it as like kind of like a teasing gag of like, oh, check this out, my eyeball. But
I have an eyeball in my mouth. I ate your friend. Nobody believes you.
But it's when she stands up for the first time in the movie, because she's in a wheelchair the entire time. Which, a little bit of a callback, when they first meet the auntie, they're like, oh, you're in a wheelchair. What's wrong? And she just goes, I'm fine. Yeah. And then they just keep going, and so she just stands up, and then all the girls are like, "Whoa, you're standing! This is crazy!" And then she's like, "Yeah, you girls give me energy."
Yep.
And this was right after Mac disappears, and it's like, "What? You can't. This is the dot you're supposed to connect here." But again, be a short horror movie.
And then later on, my favorite gag in this whole film is there's a shot from like this balcony looking down. You see a fridge on the left side. Auntie and I forget who are walking past it. Auntie just opens up the fridge and walks in it.
What?
Yes, just walks inside the fridge, closes, and then another character is like freaking out, like, I just saw Auntie go in the fridge. And then Auntie appears in the foreground of the shot, looks back at the camera, smiles at us, and then looks down at them.
Oh, dude.
That whole sequence probably took 5 seconds, and you blinked, and which is why you probably missed it. So
exactly,
don't worry.
Because like this, yeah, you're describing the entire movie and how it's paced. Of like, I was sitting on the same chair watching the same thing, taking notes, half pausing it some of the time, and I still fucking missed that.
Yep.
And there's so much that goes on, but that's how I don't know if there's a single
Watch it again.
Oh, I am.
You could watch this movie 4 or 5 times and notice things that you didn't see the first time.
Oh, you would have to, because there's just no way the human brain can concentrate that much. I legitimately don't think there's a shot that lasts more than 3 Mississippi.
Probably not. Yeah, you cannot watch or play like Subway Surfers with this, because if you take your eye off for a second, you miss something important.
No, you're gone. You're goners. Like, did you ever see that clip? It's from one of the Taken movies, and it's Liam Neeson hopping over a fence.
Yes,
and
there's like 900 clips.
Yeah, it's just like pop, 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 pop. And that's what the entire movie was, and it's not really even an action movie.
Agree, disagree, okay? Because like, here's me being hyper specific. I understand where you're coming from by using that as an example, right? Every cut in House has intention.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And that whole like 90 edits just to get him over the fence is done to pad time, because they probably only had Liam Neeson for 3 days.
Right.
And shot like 20 minutes worth of footage before he got drunk and pissed his pants in a trailer.
And there's no way that Liam Neeson, no matter how fit he is, in the mid to late 60s, which I'm sure he was shooting the movie, it's not going to be an interesting shot if you have one shot of him just hopping the fence. There's going to be a lot of...
Have you seen the compilation of like Liam Neeson drunk on the streets, pissed his pants?
No, but that makes me like him so much more.
You have to look this up.
Yeah. I'm
sure
it
if you
now.
just Google Liam Neeson pissed pants, it's like a compilation. It's not just like one or two images. This is a thing that just constantly happens to him.
Dude, yeah, right on Reddit off the bat. Why does Liam Neeson pee his pants so much? It's because he's an old Irish guy that likes whiskey, bro.
He just drinks a lot, you know?
Yeah.
This is what happens when you're an alcoholic.
He's killing it. He's killing it, dude. Oh, man. Qui-Gon is the shit. Wow,
Well, no,
pisses
he's
his
the
pants
piss.
a lot. Oh, yeah, he is the piss. Yeah, there's way more pictures than I thought there would be.
Yeah, I'm sure if I pitched this to you, you're thinking like, oh, 4 or 5. It happens to the best of it. No,
Yeah.
there's like dedicated photo albums to this.
Yeah, there might be an entire Google image page.
Exactly. What were we talking about again?
House from 1977.
Oh, yeah, 1977,
Yeah, yeah.
Liam Neeson's Piss. His
Yeah.
best movie.
That's younger
If
than I
you-
thought. He's
you-
a big drinker.
Yeah, younger than me.
Yeah.
You hit 77 or 71, buddy, you can piss your pants all you want. You get the piss pants pass.
That's true. That is true. I mean, honestly, if you don't have your shit wrapped up around 70 anyways, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing on this planet, man?
Yeah.
So, we're jumping around a whole bunch. I don't even think that we could accurately describe every scene that goes on in this movie. Especially to the point to where, like, it would take longer for me to describe what happens than when it actually happens, if that makes sense.
yeah, it
there are,
does.
like, entire scenes that are, like, 4 or 5 seconds. And then you just kind of miss it if you're not paying attention, right?
Yeah.
What is your favorite kill in this one?
I mean, it sucks because it's my favorite person, and it's not a confirmed death, even though, like, it is, but it's not. But it's when Kung Fu gets stuck in the chandelier and then, like, somehow cuts half of her body off just to kick the cat at the end of it. Like, that was, like, the craziest, most noble one. But the scariest one, definitely, is gotta be the bath.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, this is old school. This is just like a well water with a fire underneath it, and it's just nature. It's just nature. Like, these are outhouses connecting everything, you know? This is not modern plumbing. This is, I like my bidets, okay? Like,
Feels like a shower in the middle of the day. It's great.
it really does. It really does. I actually don't have one, but one of my buddies does, and I feel like I purposely
And you go
wait.
over to his house every day just to shit.
Yeah, I mean, he lives a little far away for every day, but every time I do go to
You
his
gotta
house,
hold it in, man.
he probably thinks I have horrible IBS, and I'm just like, no, I'm just trying to clean up.
I'm just here to blow up your toilet and go, bro. We're poo pals. Come on. I come over and I take a
Yeah.
shit at your place and I say hi.
Yeah. Well, I think also the piano just eating melody.
That
and,
one's
like,
my favorite for sure.
That was wild. How it just like started with the hands and then just like started dancing her all around, and then she just became part of the piano, and as
It like stretched over her and took
Yeah.
her into the piano and like ate her. And then her disembodied head is just superimposed into the footage.
Yeah.
And during the shot of her legs like kicking up and down as she's getting eaten, looks at it and just goes, "Oh, that's naughty."
Yeah.
And then leaves. Like,
Oh my god.
I wish every movie was like this. I don't, because then this one would be less special. But at the same time, like, can you name anything as batshit as this one that you've seen? Like, any movie?
No, I mean legitimately the closest is the only Beatles movie that I've really seen, which is Help. But it's still like it's got pockets of weirdness that would reflect upon how weird this movie is. Whereas this is just like the entire thing is all of the weird parts of Help. I can't like. Although I have not seen, which I know it's not as silly, but I know that it's like a similar concept, and we'll probably end up watching it. But Suspiria came out around the same time, and I know that it's similar in feel of just like a bunch of females and like a weird house and the
That's
whole thing.
weird. Why do you say females?
A bunch of ladies. I don't know what bitch is supposed to be called.
Females.
Females, you know?
All right,
Yeah,
at least
literally.
like I don't know. When you call somebody a bitch, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like you're puffing your chest out. It's a little bit, I don't know, masculine, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But like whenever anybody says female, I feel like they're about to shoot the place up.
Yeah, no, I do apologize. Honestly, the only reason why I do that is because I use bitch
Doo-doo.
way too. Yeah, I
Yeah, poopy.
I
What were we talking about?
Bitches. Yeah. No, I do use the term bitches way too much, and like it's been called out by both my wife and some of my really good bitch friends, and where at least the consensus is the way that I say it is not like harsh, like I'm calling. It's just like a funny referral that is just like. I was raised really weird and had a friend that was like on the streets early, and I was just like, I guess this is how you talk.
It's
man.
a
We're
universal
bitches,
term. I know from my
yeah.
stint in prison.
Right,
so.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And so I'm trying to cover that up to not seem like myself, but I guess if you really want to know me, bitches, you're going to get it. You're like,
I don't know. I feel like, at least with bitch, there's like some character behind it, right? But again, with female, it's just
yeah,
like
female
creepy.
is rough.
It's just
it is,
weird.
It is creepier than just bitch.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll stop saying female, and I'll try not to say bitch.
I'm glad that I could help you learn how to be less problematic. Stop saying female and just start saying bitch. There you go. I'm glad that we can learn through this and that we can make this a teachable moment.
I am married, and she is a trooper.
She puts up with a lot. What were we talking about?
House,
House, 1977.
Yeah.
It's such a great movie.
It's so good.
It's so good.
You wanna know one of my favorite parts of it was
No.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, everyone. See ya.
See ya. And then
Anyways, what was your?
which is the mid 2000s absolute anthem for anyone that was angsty. Welcome to the Black Parade.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the melody starts playing on the piano is so close to the Black Parade.
Oh.
Just ding, 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 ding. It's literally like consists of 3 notes and a rhythm that shares super nicely. And the whole time she was playing that, I just couldn't just be like, when I was a young boy. Like, it's just But but that is a probably 23, 25-year difference from when that movie came out and the song came out. So we'll see.
Maybe who's the guy behind MCR, Gerard Way?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he saw that movie when he was young.
I mean, I hope so. He seems like he would be well versed in odd Japanese cinema. So
You would think if he was cool,
I would.
like us.
Yeah. Which Gerard, we don't know yet. So come on the podcast.
Yeah, just come on.
Yeah. So we got a little seat for you right here.
We'll watch all your favorite scary movies. It'll be cool.
Actually, yeah, that would be sweet to start having guests.
We should
like and be like
substitute teachers.
Substitute teachers,
Oh,
yeah. like substitute teachers, but a couple of my friends would have to be substitute students. So
All right.
that
would be great. I would show them like actually the worst shit I can possibly think of.
Oh, dude, yeah.
To the point where they're like, "No, I don't even want to be on the show with you anymore."
No, Joe, can you please stop? Which is funny because they
I went
to
to
watch
go
the movie
respond to our friends to like text, like saying like, "Hey, how was the movie and everything?" And I was blocked on everything. I don't understand why.
I tried to carry the 2, but really, I guess she's never talking to me. Guess she's never talking to you.
Guess not. What were we talking about again? House, 1977. Great film.
Great. Top tier. And rule number 1 in horror movies, which they did great in this movie, was if you're gonna check something out, make sure to do it alone and don't tell anyone where you're going.
Just go. Yeah,
Just
leave.
go.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, why would you? Especially when people start to disappear with intense frequency.
I love that like Mac just disappears and then everyone's like, "She'll be back."
Yeah.
Why are you worried?
Well, she's the fat girl, so no one gives a shit. She's like, look, there's more for all of us now.
She is 1.5 more kilos more than everybody else there,
Yeah,
so
like-
clearly she's extremely overweight.
Schoolgirls are super catty, though. What are you gonna do?
What do you expect?
What
Yeah.
are you gonna do? That is 1.5 kilos. Yeah, you got to do the conversion rate, dude. I don't
Exactly,
know.
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even know how much 1.5 kilo is compared to pounds, so
No, I know that it would be like a lot of drugs, but not a lot of anything else.
that's how I'm basically British. I know the metric system, all right? I measure my bullets in millimeters and
there
weigh
you
out
go.
my drugs in grams. So
Yeah.
expert in this shit.
Yeah. What's that line in Straight Outta Compton? Where it's like, we got guns from Russia, drugs from Colombia, and ain't none of us have passports. Right.
What were we talking about again?
House from 1977?
House 1977.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you like this movie?
I loved it. I think, I mean, we've already talked about Kung Fu's crazy superpowered Power Rangers montage. But can we talk about her great character arc in the end there when shit starts to get fucking wild and they just give her the floor for like 15 minutes? Dude, where she just is like, I guess I'll fight this house now, when they kind of like start to learn why everything's going haywire. And which actually is one of the cooler reveals that could have happened, which I like. It's not a surprising reveal, but the fact that we didn't even explain the flashback. Basically, the aunt.
What's going on? What?
Yeah.
There's a lot we didn't explain, but don't worry.
Watch the movie, dude. Watch. What are you doing still watching? HBO, steal it. Don't do what Joe said, but he gave you a list
we
of
would
things.
Don't hate it. Don't pirate this movie. Go pirate every other movie, though.
Yeah.
Go watch this one either on HBO Max or be a cuckold like me and buy it for $40 off the internet. It's probably $60 now that I bought one of the only copies left.
I mean, they probably only made like 5 of them, unfortunately. Like,
I did look through, and it turns out that this movie didn't hit like cult classic status until like 2009, 2010.
damn.
Which is when it got like a re-release, basically. And then it was through word of mouth that like, hey, there's this movie from the 70s that is gonzo bonkers.
Yeah.
Hey, what about that big reveal about the ant that we were just trying to talk about?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That
I'm
was
telling you, this is the spirit of the movie. This is what the director would have wanted, okay?
obviously, yeah. So the aunt was not married, but was seeing someone and promised to marry the person as they came back
From the war.
World War II, the deuce. And the guy never returned.
Uh-oh.
And so the aunt was real lonely at the house, and somehow this curse and demon and everything built up with the aunt and the house, and now every year she eats a group of unmarried girls that enter the house. How they get in, I'm not super clear on that. Maybe you can elaborate on that a little more.
They go into the house.
Yeah,
and then they get eaten.
Yeah, and so I guess the aunt was really just one of the friends, and then like there's just like the same person, but it's two. It doesn't matter. But
It's like God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit or whatever.
I guess
if they
you're
could
right.
be 3 people and the same people, the aunt can be the house.
aunt, niece, and house.
Exactly.
Actually, I see the parallels now.
This whole thing is a parallel for Christianity. Yeah.
So, having that be the kind of like final reveal, I really liked. Obviously, it wasn't like a total left field, like
Whoa.
but like having that be the wrap up is really cool. And it's like right after they learn that like the cat, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, they're all connected with the cat too.
The cat is the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. And right after that happens, Kung Fu just gets the coolest 15 minutes that this movie has. Definitely the highlight for me of just her going ape shit on the whole house, just picking a fight with the telephone.
Well, she goes to call the cops, and the phone wraps around her neck, so she has to fight it off. Yeah.
And then just starts doing gymnast tumbles up and down and everything. And I mean, honestly,
In the tightest 70s booty shorts, too, by the way.
I was a fan. Yeah.
Cinema.
She was a favorite for more than one reason.
2 reasons, actually.
Yeah,
They were very large. How old was she when this movie was made? 14. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying
Never
not to.
mind.
Yeah. He's like, there's a couple scenes in this movie that kind of don't fly for today, but it's okay because we just won't talk about them, and you can watch them for yourself.
The FBI is not going to knock on my door for owning a copy of this. I think it's fine to talk about it.
Yeah. It's true. Oh man, but another move that the ladies did that I loved and somehow was like totally relatable with, even though it didn't end up great for Melody, but when they realize the house is haunted and it's shutting them in and they don't know what to do, they just all like they're in an old timey saloon, go over to the piano and start playing, and they're just like, yeah, I guess we'll just like sing and play a little bit now and just see what happens, and then so that was like a super relatable point for me, at least, to be like, yeah, I would be doing that too if I was trapped in a crazy house and there was just a piano. But then that same piano mesmerizes Melody and eats her.
Eats her completely.
Eats her totally. Whole montage of destroying the house and everything. And as we've already revealed, she unfortunately gets her head stuck in a chandelier that is also a portal to the stomach of the demon that's eating all the people, because don't think about it. And
Just because, yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when she cuts herself in half to go kick this painting of this cat that is actually the real cat, and that's how everything kind of like implodes in itself. And my personal best line of the movie is delivered at that point, because the two girls that are with Kung Fu and subsequently not doing anything besides hiding while Kung Fu does all of the badass shit. Kung Fu cuts herself in half, kicks the cat, dripping blood, like the whole thing bad. And then these girls' first reaction to all that happening is, "We did it."
You didn't do shit.
Exactly.
It was only one lady who got split in half here.
No, you did not. You did not at all. And this is where I was really hoping the movie would end. And unfortunately it didn't. Only because, like, to me that was the good wrap up. But then we get a little bit more movie, and then the movie could have ended 7 times in like 15 minutes. And then after that 15 minutes, they just added like another 15 minutes to the end for no good reason. And it does help a little bit of the story, and visually it's still kind of opinion, but like
I think the ending really does do a good job of wrapping the bow on this whole story, because it's about like this basically generational curse that gets passed on from the auntie to Gorgeous. And Gorgeous was the bait to lure all those girls into the house. Now that Auntie has gotten her fill of yummy girls, it's now up to Gorgeous to take over and lure more unmarried women into the home.
Okay. All right. So now she gets the reels. Okay.
Yeah, she gets the keys to the house.
That makes sense.
You know how we're waiting on our parents to croak in order for us to get property?
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, okay, that's fair. That is fair. Do I get the same ghosts that come in my parents' house, though?
Hopefully.
I mean,
Or you just take over for them.
That's true. Well, there's some houses that are newer and some houses that are older, and I'll fight my brother for the newer ones. I'm kidding. Those are probably the ones where, like, my family's ghost will be now, and I'm just like, God damn it, we're still here. Like,
there's just so many gags that like appear out of nowhere and are just never referenced again.
No.
My favorite being how they're waiting for their teacher to show up, and that's going to be the guy that just rescues them.
Because he's the handsome guy that is all like...
And as they're talking about how, like, teacher's going to come rescue us, it just cuts to teacher on a horse showing up to help break them out of this house, and then they get to run away and get married.
Yeah.
Never referred to again or anything. Why it's there, who cares? It'd be really funny if we did it.
Right.
And it was.
It was great. And then showing the teacher for what he really was in that split second when he goes up to the like, I think it was the watermelon stand first.
The watermelon stand, yeah.
Yeah, where he goes and he drives in this field, and it's just like, no house, no girls, and just doesn't check up on it. It's just like, yeah, there's 7 young bitches that
Not females. I'm glad you're learning.
There's 7 young bitches that do not have a advisor, whether or not they need like a actual adult or just someone that can help them, but they need both right now.
Yep.
You know, and still the guy drives up and it's just like, nope, I don't see nothing. Like,
and to add on to all the gags that go on through this movie, so when our teacher shows up to the the watermelon stand,
yeah,
he's like, "Hey, have you seen these girls?" The watermelon guy goes, "No, they've all been eaten. Do you like watermelons, sir?" And he goes, "No, I like bananas," and drives off. At the very end of the movie, our stepmother from the very beginning, right, pulls up to the house, and we see teacher's car, and there's that big pile of bananas with the teacher's hat on it.
Right.
So he got turned into bananas somehow.
Because why not?
Why not?
Yeah, which is an awful fruit to pick if you're just going to be left there as a pile of bananas, because I feel like that's
they
gonna
rot
go,
pretty easily.
dude,
Yeah.
so easily. It's not cold. They don't have refrigeration. They would have to be at the bottom of a well, which is not a good idea.
Water bananas.
Water nanas.
Yeah.
What? Sorry,
That
Nana.
sounds like a slur. Don't say that.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
That's just.
I don't know what it meant, but I have a
I'm
nana,
gonna have
and
to
I don't
look
like
that up
that.
and make sure that like.
Water nanas? I don't like that.
Don't stop saying it.
That's all right. Maybe it's like Atlantis grandmas.
We're gonna get canceled. Don't do it.
I know. You know how Oreo is Milk's favorite cookie?
Yeah.
Or water nanas or waters.
Dip your banana in water. It's just delicious.
I did throw up a little bit right there. That was not.
Bananas in milk's pretty good, especially with cereal.
Oh, that is a good call. Side note, that is I've been getting into an old man breakfast lady, which is lately.
Old man breakfast lady.
Yeah,
Is that a horror movie?
It's just my wife.
Say sorry right now.
I'm sorry, Mads.
Good.
I love you.
What are we talking about again?
House from 1977.
1977. Fantastic movie, by the way.
Top tier. Top tier. Yeah. It's on HBO Max right now. You got to watch it. I promise you, this is the energy you're going to walk into and walk out of, and you will be changed for the better.
Yes, I love this movie. I want to show this to all of my friends, especially my best friend.
Absolutely.
Aw.
Oh.
But it's one of those, like, I haven't seen this movie in at least 10 years. I remember when I first acquired it off the internet and watching it, and the whole time I'm like, this is gonzo. I love this. This is wild, right? And watching it for the first time in, like, the way it's meant to be seen, which is widescreen 4K, and, like, really appreciating it for what it is.
Yeah.
I'm smiling from start to finish. I haven't seen a movie, or I haven't watched a movie that made me laugh as hard as this one did in forever. Mainly because I only watched horrific horror movies where only bad things happen the entire time.
Yeah, well, don't worry. I watched a couple of highly rated comedy movies that I used to remember being awesome as a kid, and I think I'm slowly becoming, unfortunately, jaded from all these because I watched a couple, and it was after, the couple that we had watched this week, and so I was like, let's get something more lighthearted, and then I watched it, and I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm not going to say the name. You gotta hit me up and I'll tell you. Then we can fight about it in the comments for views. Yes, here's the jerk, Steve Martin.
I haven't seen that movie.
Had like 3 gags. I thought it was gonna be so much better. It was not. Although the best line in the movie happened right off the bat when Steve Martin, who, if you don't know who he is, look him up. The joke rests on you knowing at least what he looks like. But he starts out as a bum. And he's like, I wasn't always a bum. I was born a poor black man in Mississippi. And it cuts him being the only white guy in the family in a Mississippi family. Like, that was the one funny joke. But fight me, the joke kind of sucked.
All movies suck. That's why we made this podcast.
Yeah. This one doesn't.
This one was pretty good. This is a thing where I want to show this to just like everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be that annoying guy for a while that, like, for multiple house parties, or, I don't throw house parties, for multiple people that come over and there's ever that lull of,
Thanksgiving.
like, what do you want to, yes, yeah, just throw on house.
Yeah.
Also, it is kind of like, albeit there's a couple scenes, but, like, in a way, like, it definitely is passable for, like, someone, I don't know, 13, 14 to watch, because it's like, it's crazy enough to where, like, it's not going to terrify, it's going to be a core memory for sure, but it's not going to be a core memory that's like, oh my God, I can't fucking, like, sleep with the lights off anymore. It's just like I don't know what the fuck Cousin Jimmy showed me, but that was wild. That was wild. I think I want more of it, and then I'll have to break their hearts and be like, that's the only one I've ever seen so far.
If you, show that to the kids and the parents are there, they're going to be okay with all of the over-the-top violence, but, like, oh my God, there were titties in this movie.
Right.
We got to turn this off.
And spoiler alert, I have bigger titties than any of the titties in that movie. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
So I think, like, my final thoughts on it. Now it's gonna be out there. It's gonna be a little weird, and I do. If you're caught in routine, if you're just kind of caught in a monotonous cycle of life where you're not really, like, digging or feeling full to potential or whatever, it's like, do whatever you do to make you relax, whether or not it's coffee, beer, weed, or just, cuddling up with a fuzzy blanket. And if you're feeling like you're stuck in a rut, just turn all of your electronics off and watch this movie from start to finish with your eyes glued on it. And then it's just one of those things that right after I saw it, it just was a non-direct reminder that I can do whatever I want in life.
Yep.
It's badass. It is. It is a really.
If you wanted to today, you could just make a crazy batshit movie.
I don't know why people aren't like don't stylize things like this anymore. Now, granted, there's not a lot of use of like big studios like that, and like Disney would have the corner market on like the crazy, you saw what they're doing for like the Star Wars series and everything with those, like that's what the studios are now, and they're definitely not like painted 2x4s like this movie had. But like if someone could bring that energy back and make something just as nuts, or even bring the editing style into a modern movie just to drive people knuckin' futs. Like I'm all for all of the things that happen in modern cinema nowadays, from the low budge to the high budge, and just all of the everything that we know of as like our scope of movies, this doesn't fall under. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why more people aren't reaching out for it, other than the fact that it's nuts. But it's nuts to a point where I'm gonna remember the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I like it. So watch House, 1977, HBO Max.
I agree in a weird way. Like, I don't want people to watch this and then get inspired to just make a movie that's exactly like it. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Because it would take away from the value of how unique House really is. And also, like, we're our own creative beings. Get inspired to make your own vision, not just do what House did and try to make something.
Yeah.
House was crazy and unique because the people who made it were making a very unique vision. And if somebody just tries to make like some bland, uninspired copy paste, it's going to take away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To answer your question though, of just like, why aren't studios making stuff like this anymore? A House was reviewed very negatively when it first came out, and then didn't get positive reviews until or a resurgence pretty much until like 2009. Do the math on that. This movie came out in 1977. And probably didn't start making money until 2009.
So 32 years.
32 years.
And you know what it was? You know what lines up with that? The Black Parade.
Perfect.
It was Gerard Way.
Have you ever lent money to someone and it took them a couple of months to get it back to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how annoyed you were on that?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
Okay, now imagine being a multi-million-dollar corporation who's basically financial success depended on that movie being good.
And it just...
And then 32 years later, you finally get your money back.
Yeah. I mean, I could see where the disconnect would be, you know? I'm going to equate this movie to an album. It's easier to make a more sporadic album for a multitude of different genres and everything, but if y'all don't know the band Stratosphere, they are absolutely wild. They're one of those bands that shove a bunch of different genres into one song. They're such good musicians that they go from freeform jazz to black metal in one weird thing. It is exactly sonically what it felt like to watch this movie. And so check out the album Buck Fever by Stratosphere. If you, for some reason, can't find this movie anywhere, even though we told you where to get it 9,000 times, but either supplement it by listening
1337 lowercase x.
yeah. But also check out Buck Fever by Stratosphere because, and please let me know how you feel about it too, because this is the only thing artistically that I can equate to the feeling that this gave me. So check it out. I should have texted that to you before and been check this out before the podcast real quick. But now it's even going to be better where next episode you'll be like,
I'm going to
Jimmy,
be
what
honest
the fuck?
with you, dog. I'm not going to listen to that. I already have so much on my to listen to list right now.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And especially a audio version of House 1977.
It would be pretty wild. I'm sure if you put that album on with House, it syncs up perfectly.
Yeah. The TV show, though, it's weird.
Yeah.
It does.
One song is worth there are 3 seasons of House long.
Yeah.
So we can't just have a podcast where we just summarize the movie and then talk about it for a little bit. You have to have a take. And you have to have a take that's borderline psychotic.
Borderline psychotic.
And divisive. To the point of you're, in a way, you're calling out the group that would disagree with you on it to make them seem wrong. And now people want to sound like they agree with you in order to not be a part of that other group. So give me a completely unhinged psychotic take.
If you couldn't sit through this whole movie, you are a. Sorry, I'll read you the line, but what's it called? Oh, yeah. If you can't sit through the whole movie, you're just an NPC.
All right.
That's my hot take.
That's a good hot take.
Yeah. Hey. What's your final thoughts on the movie, Joseph?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, this is a good movie. All right, see you. Bye.
Yeah, all right, cool.
No.
See you next episode.
It's weird because this movie is like a really big contradiction in my mind. I feel like it's so accessible as a horror film that I could show it to anybody.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's just the most complete batshit insane movie I've ever seen is also like, oh, maybe I shouldn't recommend it to just anyone, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, that kind of leads on to the NPC thing because it's like, look, no shade on the NPCs. I'm friends with a lot of people who I think are NPCs too, where it's like we have good relationships, but also I'm just like, I don't understand like what goes on in here, you know? And it's just one of those like extra gaps. But so you're kind of saying a similar thing where it's like you're not going to recommend it to everyone, but the people that do mess with this movie have definitely like, I don't know if it's a type of like brain injury that makes artists, but
Depression.
Yeah. Sadness and being dropped as a baby is just this big old buffet of I understand this, you know? And I don't understand it. It's actually pretty easy to understand because there's only like 5 things that
What's
happen.
there to not understand? It's a very straightforward film.
Super straightforward. That doesn't have
Group
one
of
cut over
friends
2
go
minutes.
over to their aunt's house. The aunt is a ghost, and the house eats them.
It's true. It's true.
I can't think of anything that would make more sense than that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No longer basing money on real gold. That's good. No.
It makes just a sense.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, good movie. Check it out.
You'd recommend it?
I recommend it. I'm gonna force so many people to watch it.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like I'm an evangelical when it comes to this film.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like, hey, yeah, we could totally hang out, maybe watch a little movie, and then just put it on without even saying anything.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, the most odd takeaway of it too is I am super excited to see Suspiria. Because it came out in the same year as this movie. And I know that they're going to be completely different.
For a module semester later on. But yes, we will have an entire season dedicated to not only Suspiria, but the filmmaker behind it.
Really?
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you like this one. In fact, we're pretty much on board for all of the movies that you've seen so far, huh?
Yeah. It's it might change soon. It might not. You just got to keep on watching.
I just got to keep giving you more movies to watch.
Exactly.
I'm really waiting because like the whole point of these is to desensitize you before I show you the real shit.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to move on and talk about our next film. We had 2 very heavy movies in the beginning, especially with Pulse.
Yeah.
And then this one was more of a horror comedy.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not make the next one even more lighthearted? Why not a little romance movie?
Ah, I like a good rom-com.
It's not even a com. It's just full-on romance.
Is this full-on rom?
It's just full-on rom.
I like rom.
Rom is great.
I'm a passionate guy.
Same here.
Yeah.
I like buying girls flowers.
Yeah, I like buying bitches flowers.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling out my problematic language. I promise to learn from this experience and do better.
You're welcome.
I want you to watch from one of my favorite directors of all time, Takeshi Miike.
Okay.
His little movie called Audition.
All right.
It's I'll give you the general premise. It is about a guy who works in the television industry.
Okay.
Very overworked. His wife passed away very early in his son's life.
Sad.
So he's been a single father for most of his life, getting near the retirement age.
Yeah.
His son is like, hey, you should go ahead and like start finding someone new. Start thinking for yourself, about yourself for once, right?
All right.
And his friend, who also works with him in the television industry, says, we should just host an audition, and whoever your favorite girl is out of that, you just start dating them. And then, basically, we're going to host an audition for the perfect wife.
It's Tinder before Tinder.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
It's a lighthearted, warm, loving romance film where absolutely nothing bad happens in it.
All right. Well, that's the energy that I like to promote, so.
Don't tell him. So we're going to watch Audition for the next podcast.
Okay.
Be sure to stay tuned, and you be sure to stay tuned. Thank you all so much for joining us on this lovely, very cohesive, straightforward conversation that did not bounce around all over the place.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to send us money in the mail with return envelope. What else are we supposed to do to show all this shit? I hate doing this stuff so much. We don't have a Patreon set up yet, but we're going to eventually one day. And then what else? Ring the bell to get notified for when new videos come on board. Send us a postcard in the mail so that way we can send you handwritten letters with the URL of the latest episode going on. So that way you never miss an episode. Scholastic. Follow us on Instagram because we're on that one at Spooky School Pod, where you can find both of our shit going on there. I just launched a YouTube show that I'm going to talk about on the next episode because I forgot to bring it up on this one. What else?
And I do music stuff. YouTube, Jimmy Nairn. Instagram, Jimmy Nairn. And basically, if someone's doing music and has the name Jimmy Nairn, it's probably me. So
it's probably him.
Look it up.
And go watch House if you have not seen this movie because
Dude, just go see it.
Go see.
What are you doing here?
For real though, have you seen any movie that's even kind of like this one?
No, I've not. That's why I love it so much.
No hesitation at all on that. I love that.
I've not. It was bananas and legitimately.
And we love you. Go watch House and watch our next podcast and watch every other podcast that we've done. Watch everything. Otherwise, you're not a real fan and you're a poser and we don't like you.
You survived another episode of Spooky School. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe for weekly content, and leave a review if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Check out our Patreon page for extra content too hot for YouTube. Until we meet again, take care and stay spooky.